With a bunch of new agent changes and champions wrapping up recently, the meta has been shaken up a ton, and some of you may be wondering what agents actually are good right now. Chamber is still the golden boy of Valorant and hasn't been nerfed yet, but with major buffs to some of the initiators in the game, potentially that will make it more difficult for Chamber to actually get value out of his kit. We're going to talk about all this and more today in our tier list. But remember, if you're looking for the best way to improve at Valorant and master any of these agents, we got you covered. Recently, our team put together a course specifically designed to help any player climb from unrated all the way to diamond. We did the climb ourselves, in fact, and showcased our thought process every step of the way for you guys to view. You'll follow along with a top-level player as they guide you through all the terror of elo hell and teach you everything you need to do to carry your games. It's a great deal because it's backed by our rank improvement guarantee, which means if you don't gain rank from our service, you'll get your money back, no questions asked. We do this because our service actually works, and if it doesn't work, you shouldn't pay. Go check out our Road to Diamond series today at SkillCapped, and we'll see you there. Starting off our D tier though, we're going to have two agents who are very familiar to this rank, Cypher and Killjoy. With other agents seeing buffs this patch, these two are only falling further behind. Although their kits can get a ton of value against lesser opponents, versus anyone who is using utility, it can be an absolute nightmare to play these agents. It's almost like they don't have any abilities, which is a similar ring to the next agent on this list. Reyna is an agent who doesn't bring a lot to the table. We debated putting her below the two Sentinels, but there is at least some redeeming qualities for her in matchmaking, where she has the potential to snowball rounds in her favor. That being said, rarely are we ever actually seeing Reyna's making impactful plays using her abilities, so we just really feel you'd be better off playing literally any other duelist. An agent who has nearly the opposite problem is Astra, who also finds herself in the C tier. Astra is actually pretty good as an agent, we just don't recommend her for matchmaking. Simplicity goes a long way, and Astra requires quite a bit of knowledge and mechanics to really get the most out of her. For this reason, it's really hard to place her any higher, as most of the people watching this tier list aren't looking for the best agents in pro play, they're looking for the best agents to help them climb. In that case, don't pick Astra, you're better off with another controller. Moving up to our B tier, these agents are all pretty decent. Definitely not bad picks, just not the star agents that you'll find in A or S tier. We have Neon to start off, who is an excellent agent in pro play just like Astra. Neon can capitalize off of teammates' utility like no other, and after the buffs, her ultimate is actually not horrible. But just like Astra, she requires quite a bit of precision and coordination to really get right, so we have to put her just a bit lower. For most people, if you don't know what you're doing, playing Neon is just going to result in you running to your death. Actually, we have a similar problem now with a new agent to the B tier, Kayo. This is going to be a shocker to so many people, but pros love Kayo. That might be so, but you still can't deny the 44% win rate Kayo has had since pretty much the beginning of time. Kayo doesn't perform well in matchmaking, and now with his right-click flash being nerfed, we really don't think you're going to be favoring Kayo in your games. With all that said, of course Kayo's left click just got buffed, so if you got some nasty flash lineups, maybe it's worth it. That's your call though. We still recommend sticking to an agent that provides more value and is way easier to play. We'll talk about them later. Right now, we need to talk about Phoenix. Phoenix is in a decent spot. He's basically the certified run-it-down agent in the game, and he's very good at doing just that. He's never a bad pick. However, oftentimes when you're able to run it down as Phoenix, you're also able to run it down on any other agent, so it's hard to place him too highly. The movement abilities that other duelists bring to the table are so incredibly valuable, and Phoenix just doesn't bring that same level of explosion to the table, so we have to place him a bit lower. For what it's worth though, if you're playing in super low elo, you may be able to make the case that Phoenix should be much higher on this list, as you'll likely get more value out of your ult there. Moving up the list, we have an agent who isn't super familiar with the B tier, Sova. Sova at one point was the best agent in the game, but over time he just got phased out a bit. With Fade, Kayo, Skye, and Breach all being pretty good, we've all just got to make the decision of which agent to bring, and sometimes Sova gets snubbed just a bit. He's not bad, in fact on some maps such as Icebox or Breeze, he's still great, but overall there are other options. Speaking of which, finishing off the B tier, we have one of those options. Similar to Sova, Breach is great on a few maps, and not as good on others. He also requires a bit of coordination to really get value out of his abilities, but on the bright side, he should still be relevant on Fracture even after the changes, so he'll be just as good as he was before. Breach is great, and lots of teams are picking him right now. Don't be afraid to give him a shot, but once again, there are still better options. Moving up into the A tier, this is where things get serious. Starting out with our two premier controllers, Omen and Brimstone. Both of these guys are great. In fact, Brimstone is so great, Riot themselves even said that they feel people aren't using him to his full potential. I don't know how that is possible considering his abilities abilities are pretty straightforward, but we've all been victim to the Brimstone Molly ult combo on post plant, so we've definitely felt his strength before. We're not the type of people to doubt the devs here, especially considering Brimstone's win rate is consistently one of the highest in the game, so if you're looking to climb, we recommend picking him up. Beside him, as we mentioned, we have Omen. If Brimstone is too boring for you, Omen is still great and has plenty of playmaking potential. It's really whatever you're feeling. Let's start talking about an agent that received a few buffs though. Yoru this patch got a pretty sizable buff to his flash, which was already one of his better abilities, so we really believe Yoru is in a good place right now. If you're able to master this agent, you can pull off some really incredible things, but unfortunately, his win rate is still abysmal. If he were easier to play, we might be able to place him S tier, but due to his difficulty, even putting him in the A tier is pushing it. However, if you're looking to tame this beast and gain some free elo, we recently published a brand new update for our Yoru course on the website with tons of secrets from top level Yoru mains on how you can get the most out of his kit. Might be worth checking out. Moving up our A tier though, we now have Sage. Sage has always been great. She stepped out of the spotlight a while ago, but what she offers to a team is just completely uncontested right now, so she's definitely worth picking up. That being said, she's not really a must pick on any maps right now, so we can't place her in S tier, but nobody is ever going to complain about you picking Sage. Rocking one of the best win rates in the game, we highly recommend the healer life for all of you. In fact, that's why our next agent is Skye. Well, not exactly. While her healing is nice, Skye's biggest strength has always been all the abilities she has to clear angles. With 3 info gathering abilities, it's really hard to make a dangerous decision on Skye. Not to mention the recent buffs that only make her more powerful as a support agent and remove the ability to destroy her flash. Skye is in an awesome place. She's great on pretty much every map, and we believe she's easily one of the best solo queue agents, so definitely don't be afraid to pick her up. Let's talk about an agent everyone is super familiar with now at this point though, Jett. Jett is great still. She's especially good at pretty much any type of playstyle in Valorant, and this adaptability means that she will pretty much always be a great agent. However, her place as an opper has been a bit overshadowed by Chamber, and for that reason, she drops just a bit lower on the list. Still a great pick, just not the pick anymore. Finally, for our last agent in the A tier, Viper is still in a great spot. She's a must pick on the maps she's always been a must pick on, but on some other maps she's not really played. Riot recently announced they'd be having a new agent come out that can compete with Viper, so she may end up dropping down in the future, but for now, she's the only controller that can cover large areas effectively, so she finds herself very high on our list. Finally, we've made it to our S tier though, and we've just got to start off with telling you about Raze. Raze was an agent that had always been considered good, but never really had the front spotlight. But over time, she climbed her way into the public eye, and now recently she's being played on pretty much every map. Raze is one of the least selfish duelists in the game and provides a ton of value to her team, while also being very good at capitalizing off of her abilities as well. While sporting one of the better win rates in the game, Raze is easily an S tier agent, and we're happy to have her here. Next up, we got Fade. Fade is absolutely the best initiator in the game right now. We mentioned earlier, Skye has 3 info abilities, but Fade is the only agent that has her beat, with 4 abilities capable of gathering info for her team, not to mention 2 drones that apply one of the longest blinds in the game. Fade is an incredible agent right now, and if you're not picking her, you're absolutely sleeping on it. Finally though, to round out our tier list, yeah, it's Chamber. Chamber is still as excellent as he's ever been. We're still waiting on more nerfs to bring this agent down, but maybe we end up seeing the initiator changes affect him. We're not hopeful here, since most of these changes seem better for pro play than they do for matchmaking, but you never know. That's all we got for our video today, but remember that if you're really looking to improve at Valorant, I highly recommend checking out SkillCapped.com. We get it, you're just a player trying to get better at the game. That's why you're watching this video in the first place. You're capable of hitting that rank you deserve, but there's no shame in asking for a little help. At SkillCapped.com, we spend hours going through viewer-submitted replays to let you know all the mistakes that you're making. We also couple this with our Smurf commentaries to show players that it is possible to carry themselves out of whatever rank they're stuck in. It might seem hopeless at times, but trust me when I say we can help you out. All you have to do is check out SkillCapped.com. Link in the description below.